That boy who used to spend days in the garage with only his imagination and a couple hand tools has gotten lost in the grind of the real world. I think it's time we find him. One board, simple cuts, and 1 hour. No, not 1 hour. I mean, truth be told, with no sanding, no staining, and bashed out, an hour's probably right. It's an easy build, but it's one of those builds that if you take your time, sand, condition, stain, it'll look anything but easy. But to do this build, we have to break one of the most memorable rules of all time. It can be done with a 2x4 if you're willing to rip and split and glue up for $4, or even scraps if you're willing to work for it. But the easier option is just plain old pine from the big box store. One 8-foot board, a 1x8, 1x10, or even a 1x12. It's up to you and the space you have and the look you're going for. I have something I think will work stashed somewhere here. I shimmy down between the horse trailer and the wall. Winter is here and my space is real tight now. I have to move all the cedar pickets to get to my stash of blue boards. Some recycled tongue and groove I have from a marketplace find a few years back. And then I feed the Wendigo and instantly regret sneaking out to get a 20-minute head start on this project this evening. With my daughter's truck in here, there's just no room. And nothing goes right. I pinch my fingers between the planer and table saw. I can't get enough room to feed the machine straight on or for the exit table. Too tight to walk around. But persistence prevails and we get her planed. And I call it a night. We're back at the Benchtop in the morning and I realize that once I rip the tongue and grooves off my board, I won't even have a 1x8. I'll be lucky to have 6.5 inches in width. It'll be fine though for what I have in mind. And again, remember, you can always use a 1x10 or even a 1x12. Now, I saw this project probably 4 years ago and I loved it. I wanted to build it instantly, but I wasn't sure if it was a practical use of space or where it would go. I mean, it was going in a corner. There was no question of that. And I know nobody puts baby in a corner. And I'm sorry, but today we break that Swayze commandment. I still have to rip off my tongue and grooves, but I want to cut the board down for a little ease of maneuverability. I just use my miter saw real quick, a 90-degree cut, and cut around this knot section. I just don't want it to fall on any edges that might split during assembly. Then rip it through the table saw, removing the tongue and grooves. So we have just under 6.5 inches in width, closer to 6.25. I want 3 pieces at 10 inches, and then 3 at that 6.25 number, matching the width of the board. And I think we'll start with that for now. I'm toying with making the bottom 2 pieces a little longer. I just don't know what length yet. So we'll wait until we get a little better look at it along the way. I think you'll be okay with 4 there. That should be okay. We hop out to the miter saw and let Scar do her thing. We start with a 10-inch piece, then a 6.25, then flip a 10-inch, then repeat. The important part here is to keep the grain pattern going. Now, had I been real cool and thought ahead, I could have made a continuous grain, like a waterfall flow here. Although I'm quite certain no one would have noticed it, but it might be something to consider going forward. You're already 30-something. I sneak back out to Scar and cut 2 more 10-inch pieces. I mentioned earlier I wanted the bottom two shelves to be a little longer. After playing around a little bit, I come up with roughly 12 inches for one and 16 for the other. Then it's sanding, 120 grit. I like the Benchtop for this. It makes quick work of it, and it doesn't leave those aggravating swirls that the Orbital does. That even though you use 5 different grits to remove, they still pop up once you stain it. I hit the edges up as well, and honestly, I know I shouldn't do this, especially the edges that are going to be glued. They just shouldn't be sanded this way. It's far too easy to get them out of 90 degree, complicating the glue ups. I have bad habits. I write way too much off as it's rustic, and this is one of them. All sanded, I hit the edges with 220. Just a quick hit by hand, making sure there are no splinters. This is where the time goes. Spend it here and it'll show on the end. All sanded, I lay it back out, but I mess up. I don't catch it until later though, but that easy label, it just got hard, real hard. And that fictional 1 hour, yeah, I'm going to spend an hour just fixing this error. I push ahead, excitement getting the best of me because, the project's going great, or so I think. I apply glue on the end grain, let it sit a minute to soak in, reapply, then shoot some nails in. And we'll be good to go, and we are, until we're not. Looking back at the tape before the sanding, I had the grain going correctly on the pieces on the initial layout. Even talking about how cool a continuous grain would be. But if you look here, I turned my shelves around, and the grain is going the opposite now. I didn't catch it until I was on the longer shelves. It's not a big deal. Most people would never have caught it once it was stained and set up and fully loaded, but I did. So after my mental breakdown, I broke it all down again, sanded it all back up, and put it together again, this time using some finish screws instead of nails. I give it a quick sanding to remove any dry glue and a quick wipe down, and I move on to the finish. I go with a pre-stain conditioner here. Sometimes they work well and others not so well. So fingers crossed. Just put it on, wait 5 to 10 minutes and wipe excess off. Make sure you stain within an hour though. Then it's stained. For the faithful here, you're all probably thinking golden oak, but no. I want a little deeper brown and a hint of red, early American or provincial. They're all really so close together I can't tell them apart, but I think they'll match better in the bedroom. As you know, stain doesn't protect, so we apply a couple coats of poly, hand sanding lightly between the coats. I only had gloss and really didn't want the shine, so I broke the sheen down to satin by rubbing it with craft paper. And here we are. My mishap and the use of thin screws really didn't detract from it all once it's up. Plus, I had to screw it in the wall anyways. Color came out great, matches fairly close to the windows and furniture in the room. I really love the longer shelf on the bottom. It'll be my little nightstand until I make an actual one that sits underneath it. A couple of my older paperback books I like to look at. A couple waiting to be read. A couple older hardbacks that I just love the feel of. A doodad here, a doodad there. Overall, I couldn't be any more pleased with it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite Patrick Swayze movie? Anything you would do differently? And does it make a good use of the corner? As always, thank you for watching and choosing to spend 15 minutes building with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Until the next time.